Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the PGL Quake Champions Open. And if you're just joining us, what the hell are you doing? Because you've already missed out on an insane match with Sirius beating Zron in a very convincing 2-0 fashion. But luckily for you guys, we got another treat for you. It's going to be Rapha up against Cooller. And I'm still joined here on the desk with Jahar and Flea. Rapha, Cooller, we talked about it before we went to break. This is a match for the ages, and yet we're seeing it as our second match of the day.
I still can't believe we're doing it right here, right now. I mean, we could...
We're doing it live as well.
We could see it again. I mean, this is still, like, even pre-group stage. We could see them face off in groups. We could see them face off in playoffs. But this match will certainly set a precedent for the rest of the weekend.
And before we do fully jump into this game, Flea, just to reiterate for people at home who didn't get to see the first match, Sirius beating Zron.
2-0.
I know in your notes, you even said, like, after, you like said, okay, Sirius versus Zron, close match. You even predicted it. You predicted it in your notes.
Very close right here, but I was expecting a 2-1.
Yeah.
Still expected Zron to win, but it would have been close either way. But this is what no one expected. This was Sirius first round, 3-0, walking all over Zron. Second round, not as convincing, but still faking it all the way.
For me, I wonder how he's going to progress through the rest of the tournament, but we'll see that later on today because we have Rapha and Cooller. You can see them behind you on your screens. Don't turn around, but I guarantee you it's there. You have Cooller behind you, Rapha between us.
I can see him.
I never want to think about Cooller behind me. Yeah, he's got this ominous, imposing aura about him. He always has.
He does. He does. He's very intense of a person. But when you get to know him, he's a very cool guy. Very relaxed, very laid back. I remember the first time I met him at an event that wasn't Quake. You know, he came up to me. He was like very appreciative. Like, oh, you know, nice to meet you. I'm so happy you've been casting our stuff. So he's a very cool guy. But cool doesn't... Don't shake your head at me.
You think he's being nice.
I hope it wasn't sarcasm.
Yeah. Well, that's another layer of
Russian
him
sarcasm.
Just, getting in your head, setting you up for later.
Okay, so let's break down this match then. We don't know the maps yet. We don't know the picks yet. There is a potential to see some clutch, but like you said before, Flea, we have the grinder versus tactician. Yeah. Give me some map predictions.
It's
if you
really
can in this one.
Apples to apples here because, again, these guys haven't actually faced each other since last year at QuakeCon. And in fact, Cooller hasn't played an American at a LAN party except for last year at QuakeCon. So it's very difficult to do like an A-to-A comparison here. And even talking about last year's QuakeCon, it's a very different game now. I mean, both of these guys have been consistently active. But if we look at, I think it was like Ruins and Blood Covenant last time, I don't think we can expect that to be the same thing because we saw a lot of Swarlag coming out of Cooller. He was definitely one to kind of hide under the bridge in Blood Covenant and kind of hide by the hourglasses in Ruins. I'm not sure you can really do that kind of thing anymore. What I did take away, though, is that Cooller loves figuring out kind of ways to kind of shake up the pace of things.
Okay, and we might get to see him do that here as well. And for me, looking at Rapha in particular, I think he has such a deep champion pool that we honestly can't, I don't think we can necessarily 100% predict what he's going to play because I've seen him play everything from A to Z.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rapha can do anything. He's just that good, and he knows the technical sides of the game so well. He knows everything there is to know about every champion, every map, every angle. He's just that good, and he knows that much about the game. And as far as map predictions go, just to loop back around to that, I think that we're going to see Rapha pick more of the slower methodological maps. Like,
well, I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're really ballsy for doing that because you haven't looked at the program monitor to your left. Because we have the maps there. I thought you were going to go the sneaky route and say, well, I think we're going to see Awoken probably for Rapha.
How about that?
Yeah. I hadn't seen it yet. No. Rapha for Awoken, yeah, that's an interesting pick. Not what I would expect it. Cooller going for Ruins, and then Blood Covenant as the tiebreaker.
I have to back you up on that for being something I wouldn't have expected. Rapha, and I want to say this for him and Hang teamed up as Team Liquid, they don't usually get out of the gate and just start, giving us frag video stuff. Like, Rapha takes a little bit of time to internalize. He might take a round loss. He might take a few frags, but then he very quickly processes that information and then comes back with, with results that we've seen before. So Awoken, is he going to have enough time to do that?
Well, if it was the Sirius vs. Zron match, if it's going to go that pace, then I don't think anyone in the world has time to adjust to what was happening there. But let's kind of break down their styles further, because obviously in Quake Champions you can really see the styles of players the more that you watch them. Let's start off with Rapha.
Shocker.
Yeah, what a surprise. You can see styles the more you watch. And you can actually get better if you watch people play, funny enough. But let's break down Rapha. Like, where do you see his strengths lying here in general, and then in particular, what would be really effective against Cooler? If you had to break that
Adaptation
down.
is Rapha's biggest thing for
Okay.
sure. And again, that's where I'm a little bit worried about Awoken. But again, Rapha doesn't do anything randomly. Like, you listen to him do commentary of his own games, you listen to him do commentary of other people's games, you listen to him do like breakdowns after tournaments, and he can pick apart every decision that he makes, and generally the decisions that his opponents make as well.
So then are you saying maybe his greatest weakness is something he can't predict, some like crazy random style with random aggression, random passiveness would be like the kryptonite to him?
I don't want to say that anything Cooler does is random, but he definitely has some flair about him from time to time. And, you know, watching even like online results, you don't always see the same kinds of tactics out of Cooler, and that's where he could be a little bit dangerous.
Okay, so let's go into Cooler's, you know, strengths and weaknesses here in this match. I mean, he's probably one of the most experienced, as well as Rapha, when it comes to Quake in general. But to be fair, both of them haven't had the results in Quake Champions that we would have expected coming into this new game. So for you, Flea, looking at Cooler's style, where do you think he's really going to excel in the match, and then also against Rapha?
I mean, I think Cooler can really surprise. He just, he has that, he can improvise. He just does some crazy things and he makes it work. Because one event that really stands out to me, and this wasn't Quake Champions, this was still Quake Live, but you had the weekly, the monthly 125 FPS Cups. And it was, in Europe, it was always Cypher versus Evil. Cypher versus Evil, just about every single month. And Evil was on a streak. He had won like 7 or so in a row. And out of nowhere, Cooler comes back. He enters the scene again. And everybody was so hyped, and it is Cooler versus Evil. And people were talking about Cooler finding the key. Cooler figuring out, as the only person in EU, how to beat Evil. And I think that we might see the same thing happen again today. I think that Rapha, I mean, it's a meme, but the meme's real, 5 steps ahead. Rapha is the guy who thinks and thinks and thinks, and he picks his opponent apart, and he knows what they're going to do 3 steps before they even know it. But Cooler might just have the answer to that. He might have that unpredictability to just jump away.
What about the tilt factor of Cooler?
Yeah, that's also... that might also come into play, because Rapha, he's a very calm player, but sometimes he does let out a bit of a scream. We've heard it several times before.
We heard it in the warm-up area before we even like kicked off the day.
Yeah,
he's played against the Hang, funny enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's calm, but he's definitely not impervious to those tilts. So I think that Cooler might make that happen more so than Rapha could make Cooler tilts, absolutely.
I missed that match in the warm-up. I was actually a little bit surprised that he would have been that vocal in a warm-up match.
Yeah, well, actually, both of them were being very vocal about what was going on. So I guess you can kind of understand what this tournament means to them and what this dual tournament means in general. And obviously, playing against a teammate, you know, you don't want to lose to them. Like, I don't want to lose to Machiavelli, which is never going to happen at DreamHack Winner because I'm going to kick his ass. Excuse me. But yes, but this match, you know, looking at the maps now that we have, do you think we're going to see any crazy champion picks, or what picks in general do you expect to see on these maps?
The thing I'm actually looking forward to more is maybe not crazy picks, but crazy plays with those picks, especially out of Cooler. I think we could see some creativity. He's always been one of those players who always sees Quake as a total game. Like, I'm not just playing the game, I'm playing against my opponent. That means if I can, you know, slash his tires so he's late to the LAN party, no, that's not totally out of the question.
Wow. Hitting a little direct there.
Everybody's matured over the years, and I think Cooler's actually has a lot of respect for Rapha, and that's mutual. That could actually be bad news for Cooler because, yeah, he likes kind of getting in your head. He likes throwing something at you haven't really seen before. And when you're going up against Rapha, you have to ask yourself, what hasn't he seen before? Not much.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything he's really missed out on over the course of this time. Okay, then if we're not talking about picks, what about bans? Do you think there's going to be any targeted bans for the other player? I mean, Clutch, we've been hearing a lot of rumblings, and I don't want to spoil anything just yet, but we're hearing he can be played quite a bit here at this tournament and really come back to what we've seen him be at in the previous times, especially when it comes to duel and not a team mode.
When it comes to bans, I think that we might see Cooler go for some of the lighter champions. Because I've seen Rapha practice a lot leading up to the tournament, and he has really been excelling at picking, like, out of nowhere, an Anarchy or a Slash, and doing really, really well with those champions too. And if you're not prepared for that, you can have a 800 UPS Anarchy zoom around the corner and screw you over instantly. So I think that that's something that Cooler has to watch out for. I think he might go for a ban on one of those two and try to preempt that from happening.
Yeah, a part of being unpredictable is being able to predict what your opponent's going to do. So Cooler trying to control what Rapha's kind of state is. Might be a thing for him. Not to be too presumptuous, but again, that's kind of what we're doing up here, is just second guessing and theory crafting the whole time. But yeah, I think you could be right there, Flea. Removing some of those faster champs would be good. Could go the other way and just go for something that he thinks Rapha might want to pull out, especially on something like Awoken, maybe a Keel. Keel's been kind of like...
We've seen it quite a bit.
This open secret that everybody's kind of, practicing Keel a little bit, keeping him up the sleeve, and finding that right opportunity to bring him out. I'm
kind of hoping we see like a tricky ban come in, maybe like a Galena, just something completely random to catch them off guard. And then at the same rate, like if you're very confident in your own pool, you don't necessarily need to ban something that they want to play. You can ban something that's just completely random to leave more things open to yourself to use. But we do have the picks coming in here, and we do have, and most importantly, the bans that we're all really curious to see here. As it's going to be Cooler up against Rapha in a best of 3. And off the bat with Awoken, we already have the Ranger picked up here for Cooler.
Yeah, definitely not ban on Ranger. We know that much. That's about all we know at this point.
And yeah, I think, potentially not seeing a Galena, especially on a map like Awoken, could change things around. BJs are going to be a big deal on Awoken, and you can see the time that they're taking with these. This isn't just I have my comp, I have my team, I'm going to go for it. There's actually a lot of interplay between these two going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is where it starts. It doesn't start on second one. It starts in the lobby. It starts with the champions that you pick. So
I'm sure
every
for
one
Cooler,
of
it starts at breakfast. You see him in the same room. What can I sneak into his drink?
I saw him walking around this morning in the hotel lobby, and he looked confident, even then already.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, I do have some information for you guys as well on what the bans were. Rapha banned away Death Knight, and Cooler banned away Keel.
Ooh, see?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the maps, those were pretty decent bans from Cooler.
Yeah.
Awoken is really a map where you can play Keel well in some places.
That means Cooler's been, obviously doing his homework.
Yeah.
It's like Rapha's trying to be sneaky about this whole Keel thing, but he hasn't been that sneaky about it.
Well, when he streams so
it's
often,
hard these days, right? Yeah, it's really hard to hide information now. But there's that last BJ pick. So yeah, again, that's why I said it was an open secret that Keel's kind of the trump card. But you don't really get to do that anymore. Like, everybody knows what you're playing. You can't go into a hole and just like land against somebody, without streaming, without doing online tournaments for like 2 weeks on end. You can't come up with that secret strat that you just get to pull out. So here you have those champ bans as an opportunity to kind of like put a stop to that right away.
All right, well, gentlemen, take this one away. Kick us off here with the legendary match of Cooler versus Rapha.
Thank you.
Again, I can't believe we're doing it right here, but we're getting right into Awoken for round 1. And we're going to be seeing this initial pickup here from both of these guys. And again, I'm hoping for some Galena v Galena, but it's going to be Visor coming out of Rapha up first, wants all that info. But Cooler's going to be getting the pickup for the heavy armor.
Yep, Cooler making his way over to Rockets, wants that LG as well, but he knows that Rapha has that Visor. He knows that he's up against that piercing sight, so he's going to move slowly. He doesn't want to give away his position or run right into an opening trap. He might actually trap Rapha himself, but he's rocking the wrong way. Rapha isn't going to move into that just yet, though. We're really, really slow start.
This is already everything I wanted out of this match. Watching Cooler, immediately put the brakes on things, going full silent, trying to be sneaky, but it's going to be Rockets v Rockets.
Escalation right away. Cooler's got the better positioning. Rapha hitting great Rockets, though. Whew. Yeah, Cooler jumping down right there into 180 damage of Rockets, and now Rapha's got all of the major items to pick up. Mega first, Heavy will be second, and there comes Cooler, really aggressive.
Yeah, he might be trying to hold on to the Star Orb a little bit longer, looking for Rapha out of the teleporter, but Rapha's going for the rocket jump instead, a completely blind one as well. It doesn't really give him an opportunity to set up for this Mega. There's still a lot of time before that comes back up, but Rapha, he's at least got good info on where Cooler's coming from. Yeah,
he doesn't have his sight yet, though. He wants to get those final hourglasses, those time charts to get himself ready, get that piercing sight up. It'll be up in just a few seconds. Mega first and Mega, or Heavy, in 4 seconds. Rapha taking the longer route. Is Cooler going to drop on it? Yes, he will. He's using the orb right away. Good play by Cooler, but he's taking so much damage. He's down to just 50 points of health. Doesn't even get the rail.
Such a clean escape with that Dire Orb. So Rapha, I mean, eating that rocket, that immediately made it all worthwhile for Cooler. So a clean Dire Orb, good escape, and a good defensive rocket means Rapha showing up for this next Mega is going to be not in a great position and doesn't have a great stack either.
Yeah, Cooler definitely has stack advantage right now. He's not placing his rockets in the correct place. Mega will be going to Cooler. He's even going to push for it. He's got the orb. Doesn't use it, and then he goes up the bounce pad. That's a bit of a strange play. Does get the kill, though. Rapha hit 2 rockets on him.
Cooler can rail too, though.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
go for
Rapha
this
got a
player.
lot of damage off, but there's still a bit of time here for Cooler to actually take a lot of the stack back. He's at a full 100,
oh,
100
nice
and
rocket.
immediately getting some rocket information off of Rapha, and the damage isn't bad either.
Yeah, absolutely. Mega will be the next main point of content. And there we go. Cooler going up, taking a few of those tri-bolts. He's trying to wait out, see what Rapha's going to do. Rapha very late on that orb, surprising Cooler completely. Now Cooler still has his left, though. He can fit to that tiny little hole, get himself onto Heavy. Rapha doing some decent damage right now, especially with the LG. Off the map he goes. Rapha getting the ring out. And now he's scurrying to get himself the LG. He needs some more ammo, and he doesn't even have a rail. That's definitely going to be a weapon that Rapha's going to look out for next. He's even timing the small armor right there.
But at the same time, Rapha can't really afford to put too much pressure on Cooler right now. He's got to think about his own stack. He's got to hold down some weapons. So Cooler's actually going to be giving up that Mega. Oh, but what a great rail. And we've seen this time and time again already in this very first round. What turns into a double fake out turns into a triple fake out, turns into a quadruple fake out, and you never know when the damage is going to be coming. Rapha going to be getting back out of there with Heavy. So holding on to a good stack is his best insurance against this next fight.
Yeah, really good use of the orb here too for both players. They're really just using it to get an item. That's what we're seeing it for. It hasn't been really aggressive. They just shoot the orb, drop down on the item, and then just press the button again to get out of the room instantly. Rapha, one champion in the lead right now, but Cooler still has a minute and a half to get back into this, and he's really low. Rapha knows this. He's moving on to Mega. Heavy will be up in just a few seconds, and Cooler is so low. Rapha isn't even going to go for Heavy. He wants to take Cooler down right now, but he can't afford to just give up the item completely.
He's got him on such a lock here, though, and it was just long enough of a strangle that it allowed Rapha to get that heavy armor for free. Cooler's really not able to do much damage, but here comes the push forward, here comes the orb, and there's the LG to shut him down for the first round.
Beautiful orb by Rapha right there. He saw the opportunity and he took it, and Cooler had the wrong weapon out, wasn't ready for it. Hit a good rocket at the end, though, but Rapha had the stack to deal with it.
Yeah, it was fairly, apparent, and, Rapha saw it as well, that he just ran out of ideas on the staircase, like, where do I go? Where do I need to be? I need to not be here, but getting into round 2, Rapha immediately popping the piercing sight. That makes it dangerous for Cooler to drop down on that LG, but gets away with it anyway, as Rapha, holding on to a good stack, already fairly well off on weapons, everything except LG.
Yep. Rapha going for that sneaky rail shot there, because you can actually knock your opponent off the map if he actually jumps on LG when you hit him. Stuck in a bad corner, the Cooler doesn't manage to do much damage at all with the tri-bolt right there. Mega will be up first, but there's very little delay between the two items.
There's a lot of emphasis here on keeping Cooler in the LG room and just punishing him every time he wants to get out. So this is actually a pretty good read, I think, from Rapha with the first frag there. I mean, Cooler likes to play a little bit slower and go into hiding. But on that spawn, that's going to be a free Mega, but might not be anything else for free there coming out of Cooler. So he's going to get away with it, but only just. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. That spawn. Rapha getting him to spawn a Mega just as he moves into the room. Strange orb by Cooler, though. I mean, I think he was hoping for the telefrag, but he was so far away from Rapha when he was so low. Orbed himself back into the room, went out very easily. Stacks are pretty much identical right now. Mega will be...
Scary thing about him, like, what is he thinking with these orbs? But now he's going to have to think with his totems as well, trying to get some spam off on the move over to Mega. And this is a good way to kind of counter what Rapha's doing by trying to shut him down in the LG room. Just punish him when he goes for Mega. And so far the damage is good, but it's not like Cooler has a great stack either. And he drops right down on this LG. Rapha is going to be on the run. Yeah,
Cooler had that totem to fall onto, though, so that's what kept him alive. Rapha, down to 11 points of health, has to play passive, has to stay away from Cooler, at least for the time being. He wants to stack himself back up. But again, that Mega will be up in just 7 seconds. Cooler's got the positioning on it. Oh, especially after that rocket.
I like that Cooler didn't stick around there at the Mega. It was his one opportunity to cross the map, get back into the heavy armor side of the map, over towards rail, and he's putting the pressure right back on Rapha here with his LG, taking the frag back.
Yep, good play by Cooler. He saw the opportunity, went for it. Rapha, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, just goes down instantly. And now there's a really nice delay between the two major items, around 15 seconds. So if one player gets control, they are very likely to keep it going for a while.
But right now, Cooler's got a fairly decent stack. Rapha coming back in towards Mega. It's going to be an early rocket from Cooler, kind of giving Rapha good information. But he's going to be playing in from below after the Mega's taken. It's a decent rail, enough to kind of offset that that play. But with Heavy coming back up, Cooler can put a lot of pressure on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Cooler won that exchange, because even when they both take a rail, it definitely hurts one player more than the other when there's such a big stack difference. Cooler going through the teleporter. He's on a hunt. He's got Mega. He's got Heavy. He wants Rapha that, because they're both one champion down, so he needs to get at least one more frag to take home this round. And he's got a really good setup.
This is the first time in the map that we've seen Cooler actually, try to put the pressure on Rapha and track him down. So the tables have turned, but the hits haven't just yet, as we're still trading rails after rails. Rapha's so weak.
Yep. Cooler
Not a good
just
spot.
wants to push in. Rapha rocket jumping away. Very nice play by Rapha, waiting for the sound cube.
Oh,
Here
no!
we go. Yeah, baited into it. I don't think Rapha expected Cooler to be there that quickly, but indeed he was, taking down Rapha with beautiful rocket. And now Rapha's got nothing. He's stuck on that side of the map. All he has is the LG and basic stack. He's got that small armor though, but...
Yeah, really good reaction time from Cooler. I mean, he must have heard the rocket jump out of Rapha and immediately went, oh, I've got a rocket jump too to get over to that Mega in time.
Yep.
That's where you start counting, you know, the milliseconds.
Yeah,
how quickly can I get there?
That's where the experience comes in. Years and years of playing. You just know instantly. If you think about that for half a second, you're too late. But Cooler didn't have to do that. He just went for it.
Yeah,
right
nobody
away.
ever accused Cooler of thinking too much. All right, so Cooler's actually going to be looking at a great stack here. Rapha down below with the LG, just trying to stay defensive and trying to eke out that heavy armor, but he's going to get caught on the TP. That orb didn't quite get through the gap like he wanted, so he's going to eat a rail for his trouble. Fortunately, he's got banana health to recover on, but he needs to defend it fiercely against these rockets. Really tight angle play by Cooler. Yeah,
and now Cooler can push in. Is he going to get the frag here? Rapha doesn't have the orb. We'll be up in just a second, but that defensive rail probably saved Rapha's life for the time being. Ah, Tribal just to the wrong side of the T right there. And now Cooler's got the top position on heavy. 80 damage rocket that's going to deter Rapha from really trying much. Oh, I spoke too soon.
To go for it. Yeah, I mean, it was it. If he was going to be eating rockets like that for the entire last minute, he wasn't going to get that frag. So that'll tie it back up 1-1.
Yeah, there were 45 seconds left, so Rapha knew that he had to make some plays happen. And unfortunately, sometimes you just have to take a bad fight and hope for the best.
Yeah. And that orb didn't really do the job either. So, again, a lot of creative uses of the orbs. You know, some of them seem kind of wild to us, but it's all about, you know, is he going to commit to it? Is he not going to commit to it? But here is the most direct fight we've seen so far. Just LG's on rails, and Cooler's rails turn it around barely.
That was nasty, because Cooler just showed up with nothing right there. All he had was railgun. And then Rapha started doing the damage, but Cooler just retaliated with style, making that frag his, but now he's low. Rapha has the stack advantage and Cooler needs to restack. Doesn't have a totem ready yet. Will now in a second.
Yeah, another play like this where you have a frag before the first Mega is even taken, and at that point it's all about who actually gets to that Mega first. So Rapha really made a beeline for it, was all in for it, and it's actually paid off in dividends. Cooler's taken some damage. He did some great damage in that last fight, but here he's definitely going to be losing the item game.
Yeah, this is good for Rapha. He's got Cooler stuck in a corner. Does manage to get out unharmed. Rapha's gonna push for the chase, but there's a lot of time between the items. There's 15 seconds basically, so that gives Rapha all the time in the world to first scout out that banana, that LG, and then still move over to heavy when he needs to.
And here Rapha needs to not take any damage before this play for the heavy. He's going to just be taking away that small, and that also gives Cooler the information, but right into the LG, and Rapha's trap is secured, and it's done quite well, actually. Yeah.
That damage. Cooler's stack just melted instantly. We're getting another fight. Cooler doesn't have the weaponry, but he might get Mega. Yeah, he orbs onto it. Will it be enough? No, Rapha still has the stack advantage. And the shotgun will finish him off. Yeah.
That's got to feel good for Rapha. I'm sure he was cursing under his breath about another Mega spawn like that.
Yeah, probably. Now Heavy will be up next. Cooler actually has positioning on it, but he might have overstepped right there. Rapha doesn't have all that much stack, but oh my god, the nails. How? Because that seemed almost like an impossible angle. And he might fight Rapha off the spawn. Does so much damage, but Rapha still has that orb. Isn't even going to come out. Cooler making it 2-1.
What a different round, too. I mean, the first two were chess, and that one wasn't even checkers. It was more like just throwing checkers at each other across the table.
It was brawl.
So hopefully, you know, they both kind of calmed down a little bit and realized what's at stake here in the first map. But yeah, taking a look at Rapha's face there real quick.
He definitely, you saw some frustration right there. I wouldn't go as far as calling it tilt, but it's getting to him. And Cooler going for the heavy first. Rapha, oh, he's even going to rocket jump up. Rapha has that railgun though. This is dangerous for Cooler. One more. Nope, Rapha can't land the shot. Cooler would have lived though with a minuscule stack. Now he's going to get himself some more weapons. Still needs LG, and he's almost out of rockets. We'll get that ammo box, though. Yep, indeed. He will pick it up. Stacks are pretty equal. Slight advantage to Rapha, and he's also got the better positioning. He will be on Mega first, and Cooler is just going to stick to Heavy.
Yeah, when you have a frag right after the first items are picked up, you kind of have to show up for the second one, because you can't really expect to trade. You know that your opponent's only going to be at like natural stack. You're not going to be that much better off.
Yeah.
So it's a rough situation and one that's tough to read. But Rapha did some good damage. Cooler staying defensive. Bit of time before items come back up, and Cooler staying safe at top T.
Yeah, Cooler definitely coming out on top of that one though. He's managed to stack up so quickly. I don't think he realized just how low he got Rapha, but that was just a nasty brawl. Rockets, rockets, rockets. So much damage coming out of both of these players. Can Cooler still make it onto Heavy?
It's going to be showing up.
Oh, yeah, that rocket. That's going to knock him down.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's looking for that rail angle as well. Didn't quite get it, but now he's got a totem to use in this fight.
Oh,
But the
there
orb
goes
is
Rapha.
played forward, and Rapha's looking to shut him down in the hole. It's going to be the LG getting the frag back.
It took a lot of damage there though, Rapha though. He's at 50 points of health. Cooller's fast enough. He's got an orb of his own. Might just push in and go for it, but doesn't look like he will. He's going to maybe try and make a play for Mega. That will be the next item up, but I don't really think he's got the exact time. Beautiful rail, or read rather, by Rapha right there. The rocket around the corner. Cooller's defensive rockets are on point. Rapha has to retreat, go over to Mega. Winning the stag game for the time being.
Yeah, he really needed that last fadeaway rail. He's not getting the connections that he needs, and that's costing him a lot of opportunities. He kind of set up these shots so that if I get this rail, I can do this. If I don't, then I have to still be, you know, passive a little bit longer. And Cooller still not quite able to push in on this Mega, not thinking it's quite worth it, but it's enough to set up a trap at the LG and at least get a 100 damage rocket in.
Yeah, that was a great play by Cooller. That rocket, that's going to open things up for him. He might actually be able to get onto Heavy or Mega. He's got the positioning. Here comes Rapha. Orbing onto it, and Rapha stealing Mega. Oh, Cooller getting pushed away. Rapha might trap him here.
Oh no, he didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Almost got railed, and again, it's impossible to hit somebody who doesn't know you're there.
Yeah.
Cooller got, honestly, a little bit lucky here, but in the next play, oh my god, it's going to be a mid-air rocket. Got him down, and now he's one frag away from taking the first map.
Yeah, this is looking interesting. This is looking good for Cooller. Cooller or Rapha will actually tie it right back up. That was so quick. He's getting heavy too, but he misses the rocket jump. Cooller actually...
He's on the run, but Rapha, he doesn't have the health for this. He can't really push it forward, so Cooler's
he will,
to get away.
though. But he's got to be so careful. That shotgun coming out of Cooller. I mean, I hope Rapha realizes just how stacked Cooller is. Cooller's got an oversec on Mega.
Oof.
Yep.
That rail could have turned things around, but it's at least down the last frag in this round. So Rapha coming back through TP, taking a quick break over by LJ, and again, as a BJ, he needs it, but honestly, he doesn't have his ability back up for quite some time itself.
And that's going to limit his ability to take these direct fights, but Cooller coming up the bounce pad. Mega will be his, and Cooller taking it. Wow, convincingly too.
How much health did he have before the Mega?
I think it was at like 20 or something.
Jeez.
Because he, at the end, Cooller had like 113
You saw that
left.
one wiggle on the LG. Yeah, we're going to get it actually from Cooler's perspective. So you can see like Rapha's LG going a little bit wide right at the end. 13 health over 100, and yeah.
I mean, Cooler's dodge is legendary, right? Cooller dodging LG. Best dodge is no dodge, one of his most famous quotes.
And that was exactly what we saw there.
Rapha just over-aiming at the very end there, and Cooller winning that fight. Beautiful plays. He was counting on that Mega to spawn too. He was waiting for it. And that's just the experience of these players showing. They know the timings. It's like a second nature of them.
Is that 71 LG, 10 out of 14? Jeez, Cooller.
That's 71 rail.
Rail, yeah.
Yeah, for Cooller. 71 LG, no, that would be something else. Yeah, impressive accuracies. Rapha hitting the better LG though, 37%.
Not in that fight, and that's what was really, really important. You know, you have that Mega between you. You think if I can get the pushback, if I can get the knockback, if I'm, you know, there a quarter second before he gets there, then I get the Mega, I get the LG. And at the same time, you don't want to just make a beeline for that Mega because it just sets you up for more damage.
Yeah.
But that was such a brilliantly paced play out of Cooller, going for the Mega when he did. And unfortunately, it was that fight that cost Rapha the map.
Yeah. Interesting to point out, though, is that it was actually Cooller who had many more of the major items.
Yeah.
You would usually consider that Rapha, being the tactician, as we call him, would be the one to have better item control. But Cooller was just dominating him on both Mega and Heavy. It was just Rapha getting most of the small armors.
And I'm sure if we looked at the timeline of when those pickups happened, it was all after round one, because Cooller was thinking, I'm going to play it slow, I'm going to try to set up some traps, but Rapha was able to just shove him back into the LG room time and time again. And Cooller didn't let that happen after round one. It just didn't happen at all.
He did not. This is an interesting start, though, because this was Rapha's map pick. He lost on his own pick. I don't know what that's going to spell for him in the next round, because Ruins of Sarnath, probably a map that Cooller is very comfortable in. We're now looking at the champion picks. We're getting a Visor, Galena mirror picks so far. Last one, that's being thought about a lot.
Yeah.
Cooller taking his sweet time.
I'm looking for maybe, okay, it's going to be a Ranger. It's going to be another full mirror match.
And
all right, cool.
Again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sometimes the best head game is, you know, I'll just go for you toe-to-toe, you know, champ to champ, no big deal.
I mean, if you know it, you can do it. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it worked just for Rapha, not always well enough. But, I mean, if he's confident in his own place, then no reason why he shouldn't pick the same champions again.
Well, Rapha has to start thinking, actually, no, Rapha, don't think about this, but we'll think about it. Last year at QuakeCon, it was a 2-0 for Cooler.
Yep.
A lot's changed since then. Both players have grown. The game has grown.
Absolutely.
The meta's grown. But could we see this happen again? And again, this is still group stage. This isn't even... it feels like we're in an elimination
just to be clear, whoever loses is still in the tournament.
Right.
This is not an elimination game at all. We're starting off on Cooler. He is just dropping down. That's a play I've never seen before. It's just dropping down.
I haven't seen it with Visor so much. Usually with the faster champions, you can, drop Rail, LG, get back to Mega before anybody knows what's up. So Rapha's going to have the information, but he still made that route work.
Yeah, and Rapha right now knows that Cooler still needs some armor. He knows that Cooler wants that 50 armor down there, and he's trying to lock it down very cleverly too. He's just waiting with that Rail out. He knows more or less where Cooler is. Oh, good use of the Tribal right there. Rapha was already gone, but clever nonetheless. And there's a 10-second gap between the items.
That's the danger here, really, because Rapha knew exactly what Cooler's route was, so he knows the offset. But again, Cooler's Tribal really preventing this. He's keeping that Mega in his pocket and still putting even more delay on it.
Yeah, that's a really good play. You know that you've got the Mega to your side. You know that your opponent's got LG, so he can't knock you away with rockets right away. So Cooler was really just letting his health drop until he knew that he would still be able to get the full charge, the full stack up from that Mega out of it. Now he's dropping down. Next fight is going to be around heavy, but Rapha is deciding not to participate in this fight. He thinks he's too low. Just going to play a little bit passively for the time being.
Yeah, this is going to be rough because if you can't show up for that heavy, it makes it harder to show up for this Mega.
Yep.
And Rapha might just need to give up this entire cycle.
Oh,
he certainly wants to be there, but he takes a 100 damage rocket just out of nowhere, gets no damage done, doesn't even get to,
Oh, and Cooler's going to
stick
find
his toe
him.
in the door. Yeah, this is rough.
Cooler's going to press this one. He's just dropping down. Good rockets, though. Good rockets at the end. Rapha had used his side at the very end, trying to dodge around that pillar.
But he couldn't have died at a worse time, actually. That was the least tactical time to die because Cooler can still keep this train rolling with, going from heavy to Mega. Rapha knew he did the damage, but now all that damage is going to wash away.
Yeah, Cooler's just right back up there, 175 to 100 in stack, and Rapha is at the base stack. He's around 100. It's not looking too bad himself, but Cooler is definitely the one to look out for right now, and he's got all the weapons too. Whereas Rapha is still lacking both Rail and LG.
And that's important because he's going to need a Rail to snipe in between these fights. He can't really show up for heavy. That's a close range fight he can't afford to take. He needs to use this opportunity with Cooler going for heavy to take that Rail. There it is.
Nope.
But he doesn't quite get the shot off as Cooler's going for jump pads. So here at Mega, he tries to cross over. Didn't see Cooler coming up the jump pad. Using the orb as a bit of an emergency to get the grab and get out of there. So it's a good reaction out of Rapha. But it makes me a little bit nervous that he had to react like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cooler almost had him right there.
Yeah.
Stuck him in the corner, but I couldn't get the angle on him at the end. And here, this is not good for Rapha, especially with rockets like that. Cooler pretty low himself. He's just going to back away. I don't think he realizes just how low Rapha is.
That fight helped, though, because, I mean, the biggest problem here so far has been just the timing offset between Heavy and Mega, and that's made things really tough for Rapha.
Yep.
But he can potentially show up for this Mega. It's going to be up. Cooler's actually dropping here, getting a Rail off, and Rapha is going to be coming up the stairs, but fending off against Cooler at top T. That one Rail saved his life, got him the Mega, and at least we're back down to an even stack.
Yeah, Rapha jumped into the corner right there, giving Cooler like half a second of an angle. He could have died right then and there, but Cooler couldn't get the shot in. And now we're going to see a fight for heavy. Rapha just going for a Rail. It's not going to stick around.
At the very least, Rapha's turned it from Cooler's getting every item to we're trading items. But that means a fight at top T potentially once again. Cooler's going to be coming up the steps, feeling good about his LG, feeling good about his Rail. Here's the orb. Not going to be committed to, but that still means that Cooler is going to get this Mega. And unfortunately, we're back to square one for Rapha.
Yeah, because Rapha is just at 100 points of health. Well, he just managed to get himself some armor. But before that, he was one rocket away from death, literally, for a half a minute or so. And Cooler finding him again. Cooler is really setting the pace of this map, and we're almost entering the 4th minute now, which means that Rapha has to make something happen, and Cooler can kind of revert back to a more passive play, just cycling the items, because there's no pressure on him. He doesn't have to force anything.
That's the crazy thing here, though. I mean, Rapha's got nothing going for him. He's not getting the items, but also in between the items, he's not really keeping track of how Cooler's moving around the map, so he doesn't have any opportunities to do the damage. But there's a rocket to knock him off the Mega, and that was everything. It wasn't great damage, but it was certainly the pickup he needed. With 8 seconds to this heavy, Rapha needs to all in here.
Oh, wow, it looks like Cooler isn't even going to go for the heavy. He's just going to play really passively. Cooler's got the side, though. I mean, not up right now, but he's playing Visor. That gives him so much information. That helps him avoid Rapha's chase very easily.
At this point of the clock, Rapha wants a fight and the heavy, but Cooler forced him to choose between the two. So he went for the one he knew would actually be there.
Yeah, good rocket by Cooler. That's just going to send Rapha back for a few seconds. And Cooler is just, yeah, he's disappearing off the map. He's not even going to go for Mega.
This is one of Cooler's greatest strengths, really. Like, when he wants to go invisible, he certainly can. In fact, one of the things that nearly cost him at QuakeCon was the fact that he was playing Sorlag and his tail was sticking out from one of his hiding spots.
Oh. Let's take a look at this. Does Rapha know where he is? No, Rapha drops down. Has no clue where Cooler is, and with 5 seconds to go, there's no way Rapha's going to get over there on time. Still trying for the desperate rockets at the end, but nope, Cooler is on the other side of the map, and that's going to be 1-0 in rounds.
It's such a difficult situation to create where you can get that one frag and then play the clock for the rest of the round, and Cooler loves that stuff. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yep. I mean, we did end up pretty late in the round when he got his frag, so it wasn't like he got it at the very start, but still, good plays by Cooler, both starting off on the visor. I think both immediately using their sights. Sometimes you have players delay it for quite some time to just throw off their opponent. But Rapha will be going for Mega, Cooler will be taking Heavy at the same time. Cooler's still lacking rockets, Rapha's got all the major items, or weapons rather.
This is already fundamentally a different round because we had both of the items taken at the same time. We don't have the potential for somebody to steamroll like in the first minute right here. So Cooler coming back in for Mega, the item that he didn't have. He can get Rocket Launcher now, but now it's a big choice for Rapha. Like, okay, I know he's up there, he's spamming rockets. Do I defend my Mega or just let this be an even trade?
Yeah, and Cooler has a stack advantage. I mean, not anymore, or he still kind of does, but Rapha only had 50 points of armor. Cooler had still overstack of armor, so Rapha probably made the wise call not to push in right there for Mega, just played passive.
Sometimes it's kind of like a treaty or a pact where you take the items at the same time just to make sure that the balance of power is kind of stay, because if the timing gets offset and you don't manage to get that full rotation, well, guess what? Your opponent just did.
Yep. That's going to be a shame for Cooler, though. He's going to regret missing that rail. He had it perfectly lined up. He had the piercing sight. He jumped and he shot like 10 centimeters to the right. Oh, here we go. I think Cooler just getting knocked down. Don't think that was entirely intentional, but here he is. And he actually comes out on top of that fight, too, doing most of the damage. And now there is a 10-second delay between the two items.
But this is a vital place for Rapha to do some damage. He doesn't want to let Cooler get into the Mega Room for free. So the fact that he's only keeping him back here a little bit of time is doing him such a good, a huge...
absolutely.
For him. But he didn't stick around at the Mega. He's having to come back into it, so Cooler was able to pop the piercing sight and still show up in time. Rapha really gave him a lot of leash.
That rocket almost took Cooler's face right off. That was so close. But Cooler, so dominant right now, is getting all of the major items time and time again. Rapha has to disappear off the map, has to play it passively. And this is something that you quite often see when it comes to visor versus visor. It really slows the game down because there's that paranoia. Because you know that your opponent has that piercing sight that could be active at any time. Any possible moment in the game. He could be waiting around the corner knowing exactly where you are with an excellent trap.
Well, Russian paranoia is kind of Cooler's forte, so it's all good for him. Cooler, again, like you said, looking at a great stack, but it's going to come down to these first hits. Rapha, though, going to get collapsed in from the top of the rockets. Aren't great from Cooler. Finally getting some good stuff, and there's the frag.
That was
Cooler's
amazing.
a little bit weak, though. Here comes Heavy, but Rapha's going to know that he's going to be coming out of this room. Rapha has an opportunity to catch him at the Mega, but he needs to cycle LG and Rail very quickly.
Yeah, just want to give props to Rapha for that amazing reaction time. He just heard Cooler jump up there and instantly turned around, LG out, to stop him from just jumping over. That was a lot of damage coming out of Rapha. This is bad for Cooler. Rapha's got the better positioning. He's more secure. He's got the rail, and he's going to jump in too. Cooler not able to get out of that room on time, and Rapha tying it up 1-1.
But it's a parallel situation now as Cooler spawns up as Heavy's coming up. But actually, Cooler got to spawn much closer to LG and Rail. So Rapha's able to take away the Heavy, but Cooler might actually need to make a fight happen before this Mega. He's already there. He's already looking at top T, and he's going to have information on Rapha, and Rapha's going to get knocked off, but here comes some great LG, a great time for the weapon switch, and Cooler can't even orb out.
Yeah, he was a little bit too late with that. I don't know if he had it up at the very start, but this is really good from Rapha. A minute and a half to go, and he knows exactly where Cooler is. Cooler, all he's got is the rocket launcher. No rail, no LG. Rapha is going to push in for a fight now. He's just going to let it happen. Drop down to Heavy. He knows that he's a champion in the lead, but he doesn't want to go passive just yet. He just wants to keep doing more and more damage. Heavy is there waiting for him. And he's got his totems too. He's got one up already. Another one will be up in just a second. He's gonna place it, or yeah, he's gonna leave it as a trap at the teleporter.
Yeah, like Awoken, it took us a little bit of time before we saw Cooler put in a position where he has to go on the aggressive against Rapha. And he actually pulled it off on Awoken. Let's see if he can do it here on Ruins. But he's looking for that first shot.
Great
he's
trap.
trying to set up a trap. But Rapha's not springing it just yet. He's coming in from kind of a weird angle, but there's the hit. And the rocket is good. It's a direct pop-up. Rapha, like you said, has that totem. He's going to be able to rely on that for a bit of extra health. And at the end of the fight, not a whole lot has changed.
I'm surprised that Cooler managed to do so little with that. Because he bounced Rapha into the corner. Oh, here we go. Rapha 40 point of health. Cooler not much better, but he's pushing in. He knows he has to. 30 seconds to go. Rapha can't contest for this Mega. Has to get away. Cooler will be taking Mega, 15 seconds, still heavy. He can wait for it, but that's cutting it close.
So between one round and the next, we get to directly compare who's better at hiding. If Rapha's found here, that'll be it, but he's only got 20 seconds to survive.
Yep.
Crossing through T is dangerous, taking away this light armor's dangerous, staying in this corner's dangerous. He's way out in the open, but he's inviting a fight from Cooler and almost forcing him to open with rail
there we go,
first.
Cooler spotted Rapha. He's going in with the rocket jump, but will he be on time?
Oh,
no, that rail,
save it. Yeah,
that's
that
the
was
end.
it.
Yeah, nicely done by Cooler, or by Rapha rather, pushing Cooler away. Really nice place.
But Rapha did get caught. He had to use the weapons to keep Cooler away. Cooler didn't have to do that.
No, Cooler played the better passive stealth game, that's true. He did it for longer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1-1, moving into the third round now. I think this one is really too close to tell. There's no player that's really dominating the other one. They're both playing their strengths. Cooler is starting off with the heavy, doesn't have any other weapons. Oh, he's gonna go up the bounce, but this is risky though. He's ready to go back now. He didn't fully commit to that.
But here's the delay, so we're right back to where we were with round one with a good 10-second split.
Yep.
I think Cooler saw the pickup, or at least heard it, so he's going to have full information. That means that the heavy armor is definitely going to be the first thing to play for. Rapha still hasn't been able to manage to get back in and get a grab for the rocket launcher, so any free damage that Cooler gets here makes that heavy all that much easier.
Yeah, and COOLLERZ is going to be able to get LG. Hopefully, he wants it so badly, but Rapha knows he doesn't have it, and he played that well. Rapha hitting another vertical rail. Good retaliation rocket by Cooler, though he's got to be careful. Both major items are up. Ah, this is good from Cooler. Rapha going up the bounce pad. That gives Cooler all the time in the world to pick that one up and get out of there unharmed too. He might even be able to set a trap.
Considering that Rapha hasn't been able to take away a rocket launcher, you know, taking an item trade like that is just fine. And Rapha just so precisely played out the distancing in that last fight, just like, all right, I'm going to rail him when he goes to LG, pop through TP, and then immediately drop down towards heavy. And he even got one more rail hit off of it. So he's doing just fine here. Taking away this piercing sight is going to help out a lot.
I wonder if Cooler is aware that Rapha doesn't have rockets. I don't think he is, because Rapha picked up Mega already. Yeah. So I think that Cooler is going to assume that Rapha has rockets too. He doesn't know that that weakness is there. He can't exploit it, at least as far as I'm aware. This time it will be Cooler picking up the Mega. Rapha sticking to that top side. He is finally going to get himself a rocket launcher. Going to be happy with that. We might even see a confrontation at the bottom. Teleporter. Nope. Cooler backing up into the middle. Next item will be heavy. Looks like Rapha is going to drop down from the eye. Cooler is going to come from the middle section of the map, if he's even going to contest.
Yeah, that was a pretty safe play there from Rapha. I can check it, and I don't really lose anything. If he's not there, I can still go back in, knowing that the heavy is the first thing to focus on. Coming in from eyeball for this Mega, though. He's going to need this piercing sight here pretty soon, but it's going to be a fight over the Mega. Doesn't quite get it, but the damage is good coming out of Rapha, at least initially, but Cooler's LG is so dangerous.
Yeah, really nice play by Cooler. Rapha rocket jumping up. Cooler did the damage right there. Rapha retaliated nicely, but he couldn't do enough damage to take down Cooler. Just want to go back to the previous frag that we saw. Cooler was just waiting on top of that bounce pad with his piercing sight ready. So if Rapha would have gone up there, I think that might have been a frag for Cooler, very deliberately to wait. But
it's enough to give you a headache thinking of all the things that they've got to keep in their head now.
it's pretty amazing what these players are capable of. Cooler is getting forced off the Mega health. And this is putting Rapha in a good position. He's got the health and armor advantage. Heavy will be up in 12 seconds. It's going to be the first item that they're going to be fighting over. And Cooler's got all the weapons, but he's almost out of ammo for his LG, and he doesn't have all that much rails left.
Cooler always has the most intense passive play. Like, it's never boring watching him go, go into hiding, because he is watching every corner. I'm sure you can even smell Rapha here.
Yeah.
They're sitting pretty close, but
he's on the prowl.
Yeah.
Even when he's playing defensively, Cooler is hunting.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He looks dangerous while he's playing defensively.
Yeah, and he's getting himself that LG ammo, so he'll be topped off there, but he has to not even participate in the Mega fight. It's going to be going to Rapha completely. Next up is Heavy. Look, again, Cooler just using his sight not to engage. He knew exactly that Rapha was on the other side of the wall, but he used it just to spring a trap. Rapha didn't go in for it, but if Rapha had turned the corner, Cooler would have been in such an advantageous position.
I wonder if we get to a point where Rapha has to keep Visor in his pocket a little bit longer just to make sure that these late game situations, you know, still give him that information he needs. Because right now, like, yeah, he's going to have items, but Cooler, even going passive here.
Yeah.
He's burning so much at the clock. He's still got 1 minute and 20 seconds to go,
Well,
and he's not worried about it.
We saw it before. He can do it. I
Yeah.
mean, if anyone can do it, it's definitely Cooler. He is making himself invisible. He's got all the weapons that he needs.
Doesn't have a tail to worry about.
Nope, not this time. And he's got that side up too. He might actually be able to make a play on Mega now.
It's so tempting.
Oh, he's waiting for the
It's so
rocket jump.
tempting.
He's waiting for the rocket jump. He knows that Rapha likes to do it.
But he's going to hear the LG. Like,
Yeah.
he's got his LG out.
Oh
It's
my
gonna be
god,
loud.
that damage.
Just to play up the stairs. The damage is good, but he's getting shoved back here in top T, trying to lay down some defensive rockets.
Yeah.
But Rapha is still on the hunt now, getting Cooler down to 55 health. Now Cooler's actually in a worse situation where he's got to get some items to recover. But Rapha, I don't know if you spot him back here. Yep, there we go.
Oh,
but there's
this
that
is
rail.
Cooler's advantage.
Oh,
He
no.
needs to switch weapons. He needs to go with LG right now.
Rapha does the work for himself. Oof.
Yeah, Cooler still in this. I mean, he was waiting for Rapha, and he did so much damage, and he wanted to knock Rapha off down onto the platform, but Rapha stayed on there and picked up Mega, and that changed that, because Cooler could have closed it out right there.
Yeah.
Fortunately for him, Rapha did pick up Mega health, did do a lot of damage, but Cooler is somehow still in this. Just 50 points of armor, though.
Yeah, he
Oh,
could
he heard
actually
that
be
rocket
taken
jump.
out. Yep.
Oh, I think Rapha was probably spotted him. Yep, Rapha is going to try and counter him. Oh, this is so bad for Cooler. 2 seconds to
Oh
go.
my God.
Rapha with 1 second taking out Cooler. That's something that I've seen Rapha do more than any other player. Those clutch, like, there's 1 or 2 seconds left and he gets it.
Yeah, that moment where Cooler dropped down to eyeball, like that was the critical, pathfinding point for Rapha. Like, did he go left or did he go right? I've got to gamble. But he made the right read. He made the frag. And now we're going to be getting into overtime here.
Oh.
But this could be a fairly quick frag because Rapha's only at 100-100. Cooler's still able to get away with, well, not a whole lot here, but this heavy armor could be something to play for. The fact that they're both Ranger means that that temptation will be there to just go hard and try to make the orb work.
We're definitely going to see more of an aggressive and fast game right now. I don't think this is going to take all that long. With some champions, you see it lost for minutes and minutes, but Ranger, I mean, one, you've got the orb to do the damage, but you've also got him to be really mobile, so I think this is going to be much faster and more aggressive than some other overtimes.
Well, Rail's getting traded. We've got Rapha still top of the map.
Yep.
Cooler's going to be coming in from Rockets, and Rapha's not really putting himself in top T just yet, as Cooler's actually creeping out towards Nelga, and whoever hears each other first is going to be the decider.
Oh, Rapha spotted him. I think, no? You could have seen him on Rapha's screen. And Rapha
that
taking
pixel?
heavy. Oh, Cooler, that's a pretty good rocket. And Mega will be going to him.
It's going to be items traded and frags traded. And
Yeah, oh, nice
everything's gonna be
opening
even,
from
but-
Cooler.
Yep.
Every rail matters so much right now. Because if you hit it once, if you hit it twice, I mean, that's your opening.
I mean, it means that you now need 25s, and where are the 25s?
Yeah.
In some of the shittiest
Oh,
places of the map,
Rapha.
but Rapha's going to be on the run, 50 HP.
Yeah, getting out of there. Now Cooler, definitely the one in control. He's going to go for heavy. Mega up in 5 seconds. Rapha should have a pretty good idea of
He's
when
spent
it's up.
so much time just being railable.
Oh, he's going for it. This could be the end.
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Can't find the final rail on Cooler.
I was
Does go
thinking it was
down.
going to be like an exact mirror of what we saw in the last frag of Awoken, but again, switching back over to rail, the accuracy punishing Rapha at the very last moment.
Yeah. Really nicely done by Cooler. He just held his ground. Rapha not happy about that. Of course, why would he be? Starting this one off on Rapha. He's down below, getting himself heavy. Mega being delayed so long. Rapha might actually know that Mega is being delayed because he's got the sight. He can see what Cooler is doing. He's got himself perched up on that ledge right there. Doesn't have a rocket left. Got everything else though. He's trying to set a trap. Both players so passive. Again.
And figuring out how to set up damage when you don't have a rocket launcher is so difficult on Ruins of Sarnath, and realizing that your opponent doesn't have a rocket launcher gives you so much control. Then again, your opponent can deny LG and rail to some extent, but not quite as much as you can. But with that initial rail coming out of Rapha, Cooler's got some decisions to make.
Yeah. Oh, Cooler dropping back down. I think he wanted to go up, but then he decided not to when he spotted Rapha right there. Heavy is still up. Oh, nicely done by Rapha, using that side so effectively, catching him out of a teleporter. Looking at some of the statistics this time around, we're seeing a lot more balance between the item pickups. Both are about equal. There's no one person dominating the others in terms of major items picked up, as we saw on Awoken earlier. Mega will be the first item up next. 8 seconds to go. Cooler does have positioning on it, but Rapha has the stack and the side. If Rapha pushes in as a bully, he might be able to take it. Here he goes. He's trying to... Oh my god, 60 damage off the bat.
And again, what he's looking for is that knockoff and trapping him down here. I think Cooler heard the drop as well, so he's going to be running back out the other way. Doesn't really give Rapha the great opportunity to do some damage, but if he shows up here a little bit earlier on heavy... Oh, he had the read on the rail. doing even a little bit more damage there.
That's exactly why people say Rapha is 5 steps ahead.
Yeah.
He just knows what you want to do before you do it, and he drops down at just the right time, at just the right place, and he's just waiting for you. And then you come in the room and you're dead before you even know it. 1 second till Mega. Cooler isn't anywhere near to contest. Rapha's got a great idea of where he's at, though.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to escape this side of the map. I mean, you can hang out at Tri-Bolt all you want, but actually leaving there when your opponent's covering both of the exits is a little bit tough. And Rapha, he's got nowhere else to be. Like, that Heavy's coming back up, but Cooler's not going to get anywhere near it. Here comes the initial damage. A little bit of information out of that rocket.
Yeah. Now he's going to retreat, though. Heavy will be up. But there's always still that psychological element, because Cooler doesn't know when he leaves or not.
Yeah.
So as far as Cooler is concerned, Rapha might still be waiting there when he's already on the other side of the map, collecting all the items he wants.
He's creeping through. Yeah. He's going to get knocked off of this Mega. Oh no, the orb comes back in. He gets the pickup, gets some decent damage done, but he's still going to be turning tail. Rapha can't quite sneak that rail through the corner, but he can with the rocket.
Yep. Buys himself a better angle right there. Oh no, Cooler right onto Mega from spawn. He's actually doing a lot of damage, but Rapha will put it 2-2. That was the fastest round we've seen between these two players so far.
Once the visor goes away for Cooler, I don't want to say he loses his cool because it's just not accurate. I mean, he's been so po-faced this entire time. Are those like heart rate monitors as well? Holy crap.
Oh, wow. 83 beats per minute. Rapha's
because
staying pretty
the
calm.
numbers don't change all that often, so I was wondering, you know, is it working? Are they alive? Is this thing on? No, but they are just so cool-headed here. But starting machine gun versus LG, and guess what? Rapha won. It was 7 HP. What?
This is a great start for Rapha. He's got that visor out of the way, but he's so low. He wants to get himself some items, but he doesn't know. Yeah. Cooler will be taking heavy, and Rapha reluctantly going for the mega health. He still wants that railgun. Doesn't have that yet, but that was such an amazing opening. Rapha with the sight and then Cooler just melting before that standard machine gun. It is a powerful weapon when you use it right.
And immediately Cooler just doesn't get to play the way he likes to play. You know, he either wants to play the strong neutral game or play a really passive game where he's one frag up, and he just doesn't have that. He's got to go on the aggressive a little bit here, but Rapha, honestly, he's backed into a bit of a corner, has to take away another 25. Dropping 4 heavy will be dangerous, but Cooler's actually waiting for this Mega instead. Yeah, Rapha's got to leave. Yeah,
Rapha just spotted Cooler there, and he knew. Like, there's no way that Cooler can be over on this side of the map right now. Cooler's just going to cycle the items.
Know if that meant Rapha has to leave both items up, so Cooler with the better stack is going to come back in and just shaft on shaft.
Yeah.
He's going to be a little bit bigger than Rapha.
Definitely. In that case, he will be. Both players down 1 champion. It's got Galena versus Ranger right now. Good opening rail from Cooler right now. He's got that range already. He's got the orb. That's so much mobility, especially on a map like this, because you can use it to get from heavy to mega so quickly. Mega will be going to Cooler. He's moving into heavy right now.
Still thinking about that last frag. I wanted, because I know Rapha probably had a reason. He doesn't do anything without a reason, but deciding to go and leave that heavy up while the Mega was just taken, I mean, he's given Cooler so much to work with, and you can see that Cooler's enjoying the hell out of it. Like, I get to be aggressive now. I get to turn this back into a tied-up game exactly where I want things to be.
Yeah, maybe Rapha was expecting Cooler to drop down at I and just go to heavy right away and leave Mega up himself.
Yeah, and that's where, the mind games between these two players really comes into it. Like, he's not going to do the rational thing. He's going to do the clever thing.
Yeah, absolutely. you want to think about what your opponent is probably going to do and then counteract that, not just what you feel like you should do.
But we are 7 layers deep into that now.
Absolutely.
And, you don't know what's real anymore.
And Cooler, his stack is just enormous. Rapha is waiting at the Tri-Bolt.
What's he doing? Yeah, he was even up there a little bit.
Yeah, it's just playing a really slow day, but Cooler might find him. Yep. No rail damage done, though. Missing the second shot too.
Risky for Rapha. Like if he got hit by a rail, sure he would have survived, but coming out of Tri-Bolt with like 10 HP, not fun.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 2 players going up against each other and one has 300 stack and the other has 100, a rail will do 90 damage to each, but that hurts the lower person so much more.
Easy math, Yeah. But Heavy's gonna be back up. Rapha can't really put much pressure on it. We're in a mirror situation of what Rapha had Cooler in before, but Cooler is being a little bit more direct with his action and letting Rapha out, but still getting that heavy.
Yep. Mega up in 5 seconds. Cooler got the time to get on it. He should, or he wants to make a frag happen though. And there goes Rapha, getting himself on Mega. Air rockets coming out. Neither player connects. Cooler finds the follow-up though. This is really good from Cooler. 2 minutes to go. Are we going to see another really passive Cooler coming out who's just trying to run the clock? Because he doesn't have his visor right now. He is on Ranger. Still, he can get away with the orb.
That's where you start wondering, okay, does he have enough time to get back up to 100, or do I take the damage that I've dealt in that last fight and try to kind of inherit that as I spawn back up? But he's going to be allowing Cooler a little bit extra time. Cooler's still going to have priority on this Mega.
Yeah.
So with items traded off, it's not the worst situation for Rapha, but time certainly is against him, and so are those rail hits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Cooler can just keep doing that, he will win. That's for sure. Rapha is set up near the Mega. Cooler's got a way out, though. He managed to get out of the tribal area, and he might even contest for Heavy, because he's got the superior stack.
Yeah, and he's showing up here like
those
he wants
rockets.
Good rocket.
Rapha, still alive, but not anymore. That rail. That rail.
Didn't even look at that dire orb.
Cooler 3-2. I would love to see Cooler's heartbeat at the end right there.
What? What is he
160. Yeah.
And of course,
Nice.
Rapha's like 2 feet away from him,
Cool.
too. He's right there.
Rapha's just, yeah. Damn, that was great, though. Difference in
man.
heartbeat, I would like to see what Rapha's was at the end.
Twice as much.
Yeah, because Rapha was at like 82, 83 for most of it, and then Cooler 167. That man is going hard.
It's also an IQ meter.
Yeah. Scoreboard, let's take a quick look at that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But again, he didn't even look at that last dire orb. But yeah, looking at like raw shots here, like crazy rails, 50% for Cooler, a little bit more consistent there. And that's actually the biggest thing, I think, in this entire matchup. Just the rails that you get in between the major item fights really dictate the tone for, you know, the next several.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, looking at the items, much more even than the first time, but still Cooler coming out on top. I mean, Cooler slightly less heavies, Rapha getting more of those, but then Cooler again getting more of the megas. So all kind of balances out in the end.
So we're going to be looking at 2-0 last year at QuakeCon.
Yep, again.
And here we have it. And again, it was such an incredibly tight fight on Rune to Sarnath. We didn't get to see that Blood Covenant, but Cooler is going to be able to at least repeat what he did last year.
Yep. On that note, we're going to welcome back once again our host, Jason.